Well, it is cold and rainy outside, so let's see if we can make something to warm us up on the inside.
I just said, yes, man, right away, anything.
Today we've got a recipe for spiced tea that is perfect for adding some homemade hooch to. This one actually comes from my mother, who's been making this for about 40 years at least. She used to go to Tupperware parties every once in a while, and they included a recipe for spiced tea with this container. It's quite frankly delicious, especially when you heat it up a little bit. So we're gonna make this one with a couple of different things. First thing is some instant tea. You want to use the lemon flavored. Now you can either use the one that has sugar in it or the one that has an artificial sweetener in it. As far as I know, they don't make one that isn't somewhat sweet. But if you use the one with sugar in it, then just cut down the amount of sugar that the recipe calls for. The other thing, and this brings me way back. Good old Tang, the astronauts drink. So Tang, tea, sugar, and then a shit ton of spices. I'm really craving a cup of it, so let's get going. A cup of sugar. This is actually a mixture of the sweetened and unsweetened tea. That's why it looks a little funny. So we have 1 to 2 cups of sugar, 1 cup of the tea mix, 2 cups of Tang powder. This is what happens when it sits too long. And then a tablespoon of cinnamon, a teaspoon of cloves, a teaspoon of nutmeg, and a half a teaspoon of allspice. And just stir that all together. So down in the video description, I'm going to post the original Tupperware recipe. It skips the allspice and the nutmeg, but I can't ever just take a recipe without fucking around with it. So I modified this one last year and I really like the results, so I stuck with the nutmeg and the allspice. If you don't like any of the seasonings, you can pick them out or do different amounts. It's a recipe. You can change it if you want to. But as far as the spices go, that brings me to today's sponsor, Olive Nation. So I use the Korinji cinnamon from Olive Nation because it's actually got a sweeter flavor and it's a little bit better for stuff like this. I actually love it for baking too. Sometimes when you have something that's got a lot of cinnamon, it can get a little bit bitter. And this one, the Korinji, you can go really heavy with it. It's got a much sweeter flavor and it's got a little bit of spice to it, a little bit of pepper to it. So I love this stuff. It's actually great on pork too, just FYI. So the Korinji, I'm gonna put a link for that down in the video description. If you have any more holiday baking, I highly recommend that you check out Olive Nation to get some of that Korinji cinnamon. It's very, very good. And you can use it on anything and you're gonna be happy you got it. So link for that is down in the video description. All right, so now I need some tea so that I can get rid of this cough. But before I do that, let me point out that this stuff makes fantastic holiday gifts. Just throw it in a jar and make sure you put a little label on it to let them know what it is and that it's like between 2 and 3 tablespoons per cup of hot water for a delicious spiced tea. And it goes great with hooch that you might also hypothetically give them for Christmas. Maybe, if you feel generous. So before I make some tea, let me just thank all of my Patreons, all of these folks down here, and everybody else that's not listed. Thank you guys so much. I know that the content has been sporadic. I've had a lot of behind the scenes life stuff going on, and I appreciate your patience, and I am grateful for your support because you guys are still keeping my lights on. Thank you so much. You guys are my Christmas miracle. I'm throwing in, I got about 12 ounces of hot water here, by the way. This is like, for me, one smell of this is like every good Christmas memory I have. This stuff is fantastic in a thermos. Take it on, you know, if you're going outside to do something cold, snowball fight, skiing, not something I could do down here in the South. But, you know, if you're gonna hang out outside in the cold, or if you're gonna go over to somebody's house for the holidays, I highly recommend you bring a thermos of this. And it goes really fantastic with some homemade brandy. Sitting around the campfire with Dad. That's what that tastes like. All right, I know this was a quick video, but I wanted to be able to get something out just to say happy holidays to everybody that watches my channel. I appreciate all of you guys staying subscribed. I've got some cool video ideas coming up for next year. Some of them are already done. Do yourself a favor, do me a favor, and hit the subscribe button down at the bottom. And make sure you hit the little bell icon right next to it so that you get notified when I post new videos. And if you enjoyed this recipe, come back, leave a comment, let me know that you liked it. If you hate it, I don't care. And this is my childhood in a drink. Thank you guys so much for watching my videos. I am absolutely grateful. So have a safe and happy holidays with all your friends and family, and I will talk at you next year.